ለመማር ወደ ትምህርት ተቋም መሄድ ግድ አይደለም። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ
ራሳችሁን ከኮሮና ቫይረስ ወረርሽኝ እየጠበቃችሁ በቤታችሁ ወይም በተመቻችሁ ቦታ በኢንተርኔት አማካኝነት በኦንላይን ትምህርታችሁን መከታተል ትችላላችሁ።
ካናዳ ከሚገኘው ኢንተርናሽናል ኤር ትራንስፖርት አሶሲዬሽን አያታና ከእንግሊዙ ኢንስቲትዩት ኦፍ ኮመርሻል ማኔጅመንት ICM ጋር በመተባበር የሚሰጡ ትምህርቶችን ተከታትላችሁ በ6 ወር ጊዜ በዓለም አቀፍ ደረጃ ተቀባይነት ያለውን የስልጠና ማስረጃ ባለቤት መሆን ይቻላል።
ልምድ ባላቸው መምህራን እየተማራችሁ ጥያቄና መልስ፣ የክፍል ስራዎች፣ ፈተና መፈተን ክፍል ውስጥ እንዳላችሁት አይነት በኦንላይን ባላችሁበት ቦታ ከናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ
የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ
Fine. So just as we are going through yesterday on how to compute ratios, and before we reached there, we had talked a lot about the importance of ratios and how they can help managers in making decisions. So the same will apply here because ratios are figures, yes, but the meaning behind the ratios is what matters. So after computing the ratio, then the important thing is the interpretation you give to that ratio is what matters a lot. And therefore, we need to understand the formula for each particular ratio, why that ratio is important, and then now the last thing is now the interpretation of that ratio and how it can help you as a manager make the right decisions. So we had looked at part A of the question and part B of the question. So I want us to move on to part C of the question, which is asking us to determine a current ratio, the debtors collection period in days. So I wanted us to get to the ratios that will give us these are activity ratios, and activity ratios we had seen we have the stock turnover, debtors turnover, right? And then we have debtors average collection period for debtors. The formula is average debtors over credit sales times 365 days. And we looked at this last time. We said the 365 days is because of the number of days in a year. And the question is asking us to determine the debtors collection period in days, all right? So we have to determine days based on the number of days that we have in a year. But again, it is actually the opposite of what we have up there, debtors turnover, because turnover is expressed in terms of times, the number of times. But here we're being asked to determine in terms of the number of period. I mean, the number of days, all right? So then we have to include the 365 days out of, the days out of the 365 days that we have in a year. So that's why we have to do that. So now that we know the formula, we are saying debtors collection period in days is equals to average debtors average debtors, divided by credit sales times 365 days. Now 365 days, we are saying these are the number of days in a year. And then the average debtors, we determine average debtors by, so average debtors is equals to opening debtors plus closing debtors divided by 2. I think we saw that in our initial introduction of this area. This is how we determine our average debtors. Opening debtors plus closing debtors divided by 2. And then now credit sales is because when we sell goods on credit, that's how we generate debtors. So it's important that we only analyze credit sales because that is how we generate debtors. Otherwise, if we are selling on cash basis, then there would be no need of having debtors, all right? So that's why we always apportion on the basis of credit sales. So going back to our illustration, all right? So we want to see how do we get those figures and where do we get them from? Average debtors. What is the opening debtors figure? We get that one from the balance sheet, isn't it? So the balance sheet figure, as you can see, it is for 2018, it is 10,500. All right, 10,500 plus the closing figure for debtors is 14,000. 14,000. All right, which we can see here. This is 14,000 and this is 10,500. All right, and then so this can give us the average. All right, and then now we need also to get our credit sales for the year, and that one is gotten from if we have any additional information. The summarized profit and loss account is given there. So cost of sales are 60 and that. So if there's no, okay, trade, creditors, debtors collection period in days, all right. So now, if there are no any indications of how these sales were made, then we assume that all sales are made on credit. So we just pick the figure as it is to represent our sales, because that is the best assumption we can make in the circumstances we are in, because we have not been told anything more than just the figure that you've been given. But in case there are any narrations related to the sales, for example, you would find that you are told that out of the total sales, 80% were made on credit, then you have to really calculate the figure that is meant for credit sales, and that's the figure that we use. But if the examiner is quiet about it, then you always assume that the figure that we have as our sales represents the figure that is made on credit. So in that case, then we shall have to take the sales figure, well, now, the debtors, again, this reminds me, the debtors figure, if we are to compute for 2018, then we have also to assume that the debtors figure for 2018 is actually the figure that is representing the average for the year. So for 2018, it will be the 10,500, all right, over the sales. The sales for the year were 64,000, sorry, 64,000. As you can see, the sales were 64,000. And that is for 2018. For 2019 is when now you can apply the average, because you already know the opening and the closing. All right, so that is 10,500 divided by, plus 14,000, as I had mentioned earlier, and then you divide by 2, okay, which would give you 12,250. I hope you're with me. 12,250. So 12,250 is what represents our average debtors for 2019, right? Average debtors for 2019. So we take the 12,250 divided by the sales for 2019, which is 108,000. Okay, so this is our sales for 2019, sorry, and this is for 2018. So for 2019, we are able to compute the average figure for debtors, and that is what we are going to use. So going back to our workings, all right, so for 2018, our average debtors, our debtors collection period in days would be average debtors, which is 10, as we saw, 10,500 over sales. Our sales figure was 64,000. Times 365 days. So this is how many days in a year? 10,500 divided by 64,000 times 365. So this is like 59. 58.88 days. For 2019, our average debtors, it is 10,500 plus 14,000 divided by 108,000 times 360. So what will this one give us? Uh, 12,250 divided by 108,000.
83.
How many days? Huh?
83, 84, 84
83.
times 95.
Okay. 12 to you're getting how much? How many days?
83.
83.
Yes.
How do you get that?
That's 40,000.
10,500 plus 14,000.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. This is divided by 2. That is divided by 2. Sorry for that. So what is that giving us?
40%. 40 days. 14 days.
14?
40 days. 40 days. Yes.
14.
40
40.
points. Yeah. 40.15.
10,500 plus 14,000 divided by 2 first, all right? After getting the figure, then you divide by 108 and multiply by 365 days. Gerima, are you getting that?
I think it is approximately equal.
No?
Yes.
What did you get?
14.
You got
15 days.
not 41 days, 0.4.
Yeah.
Take 10, you know, you have when you have a sum like this, you have to apply the board mass. And the board mass means you start with the bracket, open the bracket. So you add this to this, and then you divide by 2 first. So board mass, bracket of division. So you divide
Yes.
first. After you get your answer, then you divide by 108, and then you multiply by 365. You should get this. I hope so. And then now, the next question, yeah?
I read to you from the chat, I think, the answer.
You are the answer?
I wrote the answer in the chat.
You wrote the answer in the chat? Huh?
Yes.
Oh, you have the answer in the chat?
Yes.
Let me see. Hey, how do I see the chat? I can't see the chat now. I think.
Have you got?
Huh?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No matter. No the problems.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So that is now the next question we ask ourselves. We are comparing 2 years, the same organization, and 2 years. So when you have 59 days in 2018 and you have 41 days in 2019, are we doing well or we are doing badly? Who can give me the analysis of this?
better.
Irma, how do you interpret this? We have 59 days and 41 days in 2019, and then 59 days in 2018. Are we doing well or we are doing badly?
Well, we're doing well.
Why? Why?
Because it is a shorter time to collect our debtors, our receivables.
Yes, yes, because we are taking shorter time to collect our debtors, as opposed to 2018 when we are taking a long time to collect our debtors. So it's better we collect money early from our debtors so that we are able to pay our creditors in good time and be able to continue supplying us. So this is what you needed to give to the part C of the question. And I hope it's clear enough. The issue is, are you able to identify the right formula for the question asked or for the ratio you intend to compute? And then the next question is, do you get the right figures from the statements provided? Right? Identify the right figures and then put them together and then find the days that are expected so that you can compare at the end of the day and then make a decision accordingly. All right. So if you have such a scenario, and it means it's an improvement. It's an improvement in terms of data collection. Any question on that or any clarification?
No.
Okay. So let's continue with the part D of the question is asking us for trade creditors payment period in days, all right, based on purchases figures which are to be calculated. So you don't know the purchases figure. How do you calculate the purchases figure? Okay. How do you calculate the purchases figure? If you go to our income statement, we have cost of sales, we have gross profit, we have opening stock, and we have closing stock. So our general accounting equation for cost of goods sold or cost of sales is equals to opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. Okay. So from our figures here, our cost of sales, assuming for 2018, our cost of sales figure is 40,000. So 40,000 is equals to opening stock for 2018 was, we've been told here, opening stock, which is the now for 2017 was 10,000. So we take 10,000. This 10,000 because it was the opening for 2017. Sorry, for 2018. It was the closing for 2017. So it becomes opening for 2018, right?
Yes.
Plus P representing purchases minus closing stock is now the one we can get in the balance sheet for 2018, which is 12,000.
Stock.
Okay. So, all right. So cost of goods sold is that. Then we have to understand, first of all, the formula. All right. Credit period in days, credit period in days, creditors period in days, creditors payment period is equals to average creditors over credit purchases times 365 days. times 365 days. So, so going by that, then we have
Salam.
so creditors payment period. So our average creditors will get from the statements of that is the creditors in our balance sheet, which is for 2018 is 6,800. All right. The purchases which is calculated by that. Now, if I can share our whiteboard. So allow me to use this. So we'll just erase this and call this one average credit. So opening, closing. So creditors, collection period in days is average creditors over credit purchases. Average creditors opening creditors plus closing creditors over 2. Okay, so we need to determine the purchases for 2018. So purchases so for 2018, closing stock, cost of goods sold is equals to opening stock opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. So we had cost of goods sold as 40,000. Equals to opening stock is 10,000 plus P minus 12,000. If you make P the subject, what do you get? If you make P the subject, what is P? So P is equals to
42,000.
huh?
42,000. 42,000.
42,000?
Yes.
How did you get that?
By deducting from the cost of goods sold. They're adding a paying balance in the cost of sales. Simple calculation. Simple calculation.
40 minus 10.
40 minus 10,000 plus
Plus
12,000. 12,000.
12. Okay.
40,000.
So P is equals to 42,000. So this is what you're going to substitute in our equation here, right? So our period in days is equal to, so period is equals to what is our average creditors? It was 68, 6,800. Am I right? Over 42 times 365.
በትምህርት ከፍ ብሎ መብረር ይቻላል። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ከከፍተኛ ትምህርት አግባብነትና ጥራት ኤጀንሲ ሙሉ ዕውቅናን ባገኘንባቸው በማስተርስ ዲግሪ ኤምቢኤ በስትራቴጂክ ማኔጅመንት፣ ኤምቢኤ በባንኪንግ እና ፋይናንስ፣ ኤምቢኤ በቢዝነስ ሊደርሺፕ፣ ኤምቢኤ በሪስክና ኢንሹራንስ፣ ኤምኤስሲ በኢንተርናሽናል ትሬድ እና ኢኮኖሚክስ ዘርፎች በእውቀት ለመቅረጽ የበቁ ፕሮፌሰሮቻችን አረንጓዴ መብራታቸውን አብርተዋል። በነገራችን ላይ በኬንያ ሀገር ከሚገኙ ስመጥር ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች በሚመጡ ፕሮፌሰሮች የትኩረት መስክ ትምህርቶቹ መሰጠታቸው ልዩ ያደርገናል። በምርጥ የትምህርት ስርዓት የተገነባው ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ በመጀመሪያ ዲግሪ በአቪዬሽን ማኔጅመንት፣ በሆቴል ማኔጅመንት፣ በአካውንቲንግ እና ፋይናንስ፣ በማርኬቲንግ ማኔጅመንት አስተማማኝ ትምህርት ይገቢውና ራስዎንና ሀገሮን ይለውጡ። አድራሻ 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ህልሞን እውን ያደርጋል።
Let me just confirm this the figure for creditors 6,800 for 2018. Good. So when you work out that, what do you get? $59.095 days. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So can you do for 2019 and give me the figure?
Okay.
The days, number of days. What is the purchases figure for 2019? Huh?
Wait for a minute.
Our P is equals to?
Is equal to 75,600.
75,000.
600 is equal to
$75,600.
No.
You just use the same approach here. Get our cost of sales for 2019, and then our opening stock for 2019 would be the closing stock for 2018, and then our closing stock for 2019 would be what you're getting the balance sheet. So our cost of sales is 75,600. 75,600
That is equal to
is equals to opening stock is
10,000. 10,000.
10,000.
Yes.
Is 12,000
No.
plus
Minus
fee minus 15,000. Are we there? So this is what you are saying. Allow me to erase this, but take note of this figure 59, so so that I can space here. So this is equals to this is minus 15,000. Therefore, P is equals to, can you compute P?
Yes.
75,600 plus 15,000
78,600.
minus 12,000. 78,600.
600.
So that is our whatever, our P for 2019. So our period is equals to opening creditors plus closing creditors divided by 2. So what is our opening creditors?
9,400.
That is, opening is 6,800 plus 9,400 divided by 2. All right. So is 6,800 plus 9,400 divided by 2. So everything divided by 78,600 times 365. So this will give us what? Can you work out that?
I think it's 36.5.
$37. .6 days. So that's 7.6 days. And for 2019, this is 2018. $59 days. So what can you say about the two? Are we doing badly or we are doing better? Kadir? Kadir?
Yes, doctor.
Are we doing, what can you comment about the two figures for the number of days for 2018 and number of days for 2019? Are we doing badly or we are doing better? Girma.
Yes, sir.
Kadir, if you are not talking, please mute Kadir. Please mute. Kadir, mute. Mute your mic.
We made better in the 2019.
We are doing badly or we are doing better?
We are doing better. 2019.
Why?
Because of collection.
Why do you say so?
The credit collection period is short.
We?
The credit collection period is short. We promote collection period, short period, collection period.
You know, now this is the days you are given by creditors to pay them.
Yeah.
So you can see the days you are given by creditors to pay them has reduced, which means we have to tighten our belts to pay them in a shorter time than the time they used to give us. Okay, so it's hard on our side. I think that, you know, the longer the period they give you, the creditors give you, the better for you, because you have a long breathing space.
Okay.
But when they give you a shorter period, it means you have to tighten your belt to ensure that you pay them in good time, earlier than what they used to give you in terms of days. So I think it's not good for the company, so that their days have been shortened in terms of paying their debts according to the creditors. Do you see that interpretation?
Yes.
Yeah. And does it make sense?
Yes.
Do you have a question?
No.
Okay. So this is what the ratios speak louder than the figures. So that's why we have to use ratios to explain some of the things that may not be explained by just looking at the mere figures. Okay. So we need, if you are a manager, you need now to do something about your policy, your credit payment policy. You can negotiate with your clients or your suppliers, probably to extend some period so that they allow you time to reorganize yourself and pay them in good time or when funds will be available. So this is a good indicator that can only be seen if you compute a ratio or something more than the figures that we just see from the statement. Okay, so this is actually what we need to do when it comes to determining the ratios and then giving the interpretation to that ratio so that you are able to make the right or informed decision. Now, if there's no question, then we go to the next question, which is actually asking us to prepare the gearing ratio. The gearing ratio. Now, gearing ratio, as we saw, we can compute several activity ratios. We have gearing ratios. We have debt ratio, which is total liabilities over total assets. We have debt to equity ratio, which is total liabilities over net worth or shareholders' funds. So we have long-term ratio. So we can compute one of these or even all and see what it gives us. Let's compute the first two. The debt ratio is total liabilities over total assets. And then the debt to equity ratio, debt equity ratio is equals to total liabilities over shareholders funds or net worth, shareholders funds. So we go back to our illustration and check out on those figures. You go to the balance sheet. What is our total liabilities? We have current liabilities, we have loans, and then we have the shareholders funds. So our total liabilities, for example, for 2018 is 14,200 over total assets. Total assets. Now, total assets is current assets plus non-current assets. So we have 76, which is non-current, 300 plus the current assets is 23,900. 23,900. Thousand. Okay. And then our total liabilities would be current liabilities plus long-term liabilities. Now, which is current liabilities for 2019 is 2,400 plus 60 plus 60,000. So going to our
No, yeah, Paula.
So we are saying debt ratio total liabilities over total assets. So for 2018, total liabilities is 14,200 plus 60,000 divided by 76,300 plus 23,900. So this gives us what? $14,200 plus 60 divided by 76,300 plus 23,900 0.74 or 74%. Is that figure correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. For 2019, we have 20,400 plus 60,000 divided by 98,400 plus 31. $2,400 plus okay, divided by 98,400 plus 31,000 0.62. So according to the debt ratio for 2019, it is 0.62% or 62%. for 2019, sorry, for 2018 is 74%, for 2019 is 64%. So are we doing better or we are doing worse?
We are doing better.
Why?
Because now the finance source is more by the assets contribution, the assets more than the liability.
Okay.
So
we are doing
finances liability in the first case, but in the second case it's reduced. No interest in the second case. No interest decrease.
Okay. So we are doing better because the proportion of our liabilities in our total assets is more in 2018 than it is in 2019. So the lesser the liabilities, the better for the organization, because it increases the net worth of the organization. So net worth is assets minus liabilities. So if you have lesser liabilities, then it means the value of the asset, the value of the business is up, because the liabilities reduce the value of the business. So the more liabilities you have, like if you have a higher percentage of liabilities, it means you are reducing the net worth of the asset or the net worth of the business. So that is the implication of that. So we are doing better compared to 2018. And just as I'd said, we can also compute the other ratio and see how we can compare the two. The debt equity ratio, all right? The debt equity ratio, debt equity ratio. Is given as total liabilities over shareholders' funds. So for 2018, our total liabilities is this plus this is what? 14,200 plus 60,000 is 74,200. Okay. Shareholders' funds. So if we check in our illustration, what is our shareholders' funds? Is actually the total of all this. So we have for 2018 it's 26,000, and for 2019 is 49,000. Called up capital share premium and profit and loss. So 19 plus, okay, yes. So, all right. So if we go back to our workings, 26,000. So this gives us what? 7,400 divided by 26,000. That is 2.85. Okay. For 2019, Sorry. Our total liabilities is 2,400 plus 660 is 80. 400. We divide by our, that's 49,000. So 8,400 divided by 49,000. So 1.64. So what is the meaning of this ratio? Kadir, can you mute your mic? There's some noise.
Yes, doctor.
I want you to mute your mic. We are getting a lot of interference.
Okay.
What is the meaning of these figures we have computed? For 2018, we have 2.89. That is the debt to equity ratio. And then in 2019, we have 1.64. So where are we? Are we doing better or we are doing worse?
We are doing better.
Why?
Because the proportion of source of the finance in the second case internal or equity.
So, yes. So we are doing better because the proportion of debt in capital, the proportion of debt in our to the owners' funds is less in 2019 than it is in 2018. So you can see this is aligned to what we had here, right? Because even here we said we are doing better because we have a lesser percentage of debt in our balance sheet than in this year, than in 2018, and the same applies here. So you can see our gearing ratio is still being reflected across similarly, right? So that's why I said you don't just compute one ratio and then conclude. You have to compute a number of them. Like now under gearing ratios, we have this one, we have the first one, we have the second one. So if you find that your interpretation is aligned with your first interpretation on the first ratio, then it means you can easily conclude that our gearing ratio is in this state, right? So comparing the 2 years, you can see 2018 is highly geared than 2019. Any questions? Yeah? So I think we have done all the illustration, the questions under illustration 1, and I can see there's so there is illustration 2, which I want you to go try on your own, and probably next time we meet, you can ask questions if you did not get, you need clarification on this, or any questions or comments about the questions, but this is just to practice and understand how we need to appreciate ratios as an important tool to managers to enable them make decisions. Okay, I think I can, if there are no questions, I can stop there.
Okay.
Okay, we are supposed to be 4 students. Good. Now,
Buddha says,
yes. Girma, you're saying something?
yes.
Yeah.
Right? No. Go.
Okay. So please go and practice on that. And look around for many other illustrations and see how well we can utilize ratios in making decisions as managers. Next time we meet, after reviewing whatever I'm giving today, just the illustration 2 and the areas I told you to go and look into, we'll be introducing the second part of the course, which is portfolio management. And you recall that we had done part of this, we had introduced this when we are doing corporate finance. So it's just a question of trying to run through and see how we can appreciate and relate the 2 areas of the course. Otherwise, if no question, yes, I think we can end there for today. So you can have a nice weekend, and hope to see you again next week on Friday, same time.
Well, thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Buddha say,
ልዩነት መፍጠር ዓላማችን ነው። ዓለም አቀፍ ተወዳዳሪ መሆን አለባችሁ። የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ጥራትና ደረጃውን የጠበቀ ስልጠና በመስጠት ብቁ ዜጋ እያፈራን ነው። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን፣ በበረራ መስተንግዶ፣ በቲኬቲንግና ሪዘርቬሽን፣ በሆቴልና ቱሪዝም ሙያዎች አሰልጥነን ተወዳዳሪ እናደርጉታለን። ኮሌጃችን ካናዳ ከሚገኘው ኢንተርናሽናል ኤር ትራንስፖርት አሶሲዬሽን አያታና ከእንግሊዙ ICM ጋር በመተባበር ዓለም አቀፍ ዕውቅና ያለው ስልጠና እየሰጠ ይገኛል። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን በበረራ መስተንግዶ የምንሰጣቸው ስልጠና ከኢትዮጵያ ሲቪል አቪዬሽን ባለስልጣን ሙሉ ዕውቅና አለው። አድራሻ ከጎላጉል ታወር 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ህልሞን እውን ያድርጉ።